to intensify our meaning or to communicate the variations of meaning in our speech in such a way that engages the audience and also connects with them. Something that I think is very important, particularly for Africans who want to be able to communicate with the global community but are afraid things holding them back. Let's talk a bit about our tone. Let's start with our languages, okay? I'm a Nigerian, and in Nigeria we have 3 major languages. We have Yoruba, Ekabo, Ekushe, Baoni, She Alafia Lewa. We have Hausa, Yakuke, Inahini, Inagejia, Kunanan Lafia, Tomungo de Allah. You have Igbo, Kekunume, Inanu Hemneku, No. Alright, so those 3 languages, I have just greeted everybody in our languages. Now let's talk a bit about how these languages affect our communication in the English language. I'm very proud of my heritage. I'm not the best speaker of my language, but I have learned to speak bits of different languages over the years because I interact with Nigerians from all over Nigeria, okay? Something significant happens with our accents when we speak. So when you're speaking in your language, what tends to happen is that because we understand the words and we communicate in words, we very rarely require tone to convey the intensity of our words. Instead, we use words or more serious words to communicate what we're trying to say. For example, I could say Orin for me, which means my head hurts. I could say Orin for me gan, which means my head hurts a lot. See? I have communicated the intensity of my complaint by adding a word that says very much to it, to the complaint. In Hausa, Chiki na mun ciwo, which means my tummy hurts. Chiki na mun ciwo sosai, which means my tummy hurts a lot. Or in Igbo, let's go, I'm hungry. Okay, so aguna agum, which means I'm hungry. Okay, and you may want to intensify that, I forget how. Okay. We tend to use additional words to intensify our meaning. Is only about 7% words. So here we are, we're Africans and we use words to intensify our meaning. Your expression, your facial expression, your vocal variety, etc. What that means is that your communication needs to lean more heavily on communicating feeling. How do we now learn to intensify our meaning or to communicate the variations of meaning in our speech in such a way that engages the audience and also connects with them, so that we are not just comic relief? What's going on here? We're saying something and they're hearing something else, or our language is falling flat because it's not carrying the weight it should carry, because we're not giving it the flavor it should have. So here's the thing. Include and infuse tonality in your speeches. How do you do this?
And welcome to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you always get notified when something new comes up on my channel.
When you add an extension of your vowels on certain words, it communicates a heaviness or an intensity of the emotion that you're trying to express. So I'll give you an example. I felt so happy the other day when I went to that office and received a letter, only to open it. And I was so shocked. I read the news that the organization was folding up, and these partners of mine who have worked with me for 5 years were leaving town. I started to feel so bad. Was life still going to be okay? Should I be scared? What can I do? Did you notice that I communicated some degree of heaviness by extending how I feel? I started to feel so sad. All right? So in extending those words, it increases the intensity. And it says this is a moment to really walk with you and go through. All right? If I just say, I started to feel so sad. In fact, hey, if you see how I was crying, that day I was so upset. You know, we use all those sounds. It's distracting when you're communicating with a global audience. So you want to make sure that you use the rules of the language that you're communicating in so that you're better able to connect with the audience. And so that's why today we talked about tonality. There are many other things we need to talk about around this, and I hope you subscribe to my channel so that you get more tips. But for now, it's me signing out.